Okay, good afternoon and welcome to the next in our series of virtual online trainings for business owners and community members that brought to you by the Smithville Area Chamber of Commerce in partnership with the Smithville Public Library and in partnership with some other groups as well. And I'll ask our Smithville Library Director, Judy Bergeron, to acknowledge those other partners. Judy?
Thank you very much, April. I would like to also welcome everybody for sharing in this virtual training series that has been presented by Abigail, and there are more in the series, other presenters as well. And it's a great opportunity for businesses to help get through this new COVID world and learn how to operate in a changing time. And it was made possible by the Institute for Museum and Library Services and the Texas State Library and Archives Commission through CARES grant funding. So we're very grateful to them to be able to bring these classes to you. And I know Abigail has a lot of good information to share with you. So I'm going to let you guys take it away. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you very much. So as Judy said, we're very excited to continue this series of classes. I will allow our presenter, Abigail, to tell you the name of the class and talk to you about this exciting program that she's using and is going to present to you today. So take it away, Abby.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate you asking me to be on here and do the series. It's been great. So today we're going to be talking about creating eye-catching infographics for your business with Venngage. So Venngage is a product that's online. There's different options as far as purchasing it, but it's anywhere from $20 to $40, $50 a month, depending on what level that you use of it. But it's really important with our businesses just because we are so inundated with so much information on a daily basis. We really want to push out appealing images for our businesses. And in order to do that, we really need to understand from start to finish who our business is, who our target market is, what our brand is. So we're going to tackle all of these things in this discussion today. So I have a event planning business. I've had it since 2011. I work with some pretty large corporations doing their event management, but a big part of that, of course, is branding within that and creating a clear and concise message, as well as doing their social media and their websites. So quite a bit of experience in it. I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have. We'll kind of start with the basics today. We'll go over a quick PowerPoint, kind of understanding what your brand is, how to define that, what's important when we're actually creating graphics for your business, whether you're pushing them out, via print or online through Instagram and Facebook. And then Venngage in particular allows you to use templates and update those so you don't have to start from scratch. So it really streamlines the process, and of course saves you a lot of time, which is important. And I'll also at the end of the class recommend several other tools that you'll be able to use to help really cut down on your time and keep you organized, because I know once you start getting involved in the social media aspect of your business, it can get a little overwhelming. So we'll start with this PowerPoint. I'll probably save a lot of the questions to the end, and feel free to put those in there. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen here. All right. So as I said, we're going to be discussing creating eye-catching infographics for your business with a product or platform called Venngage, which is an online platform. So today we're really going to go over the following. You'll need to have a basic understanding of these in order to develop the graphics that you'll be using for either social media or for print for your business. So we're going to talk about stock images. Stock images are really what that means are images that you can either purchase online, or there are different websites that you could go to that allow free images. But, of course, as we all know, it can get costly to get photography done. I encourage for your business to do that, to make that investment, because especially if you are selling a particular product and you're in retail, for example, maybe furniture or clothing, jewelry, people really want to know what that looks like. So it's important to have very clear images of the product that you're pushing out. But stock images are good for things like maybe restaurants, or other businesses, plumbing, roofing, things like that, where you just need a generic photo, but you don't have any in-house photos. So we'll talk about stock images. Also, of course, photo quality. So it's really important that as you're pushing out your content, that the photo quality is high, because if you have blurry photos or you have confusing photos where people are having to distinguish what it is that you're trying to push as far as your message goes, it can get a little confusing. Talk a little bit about layout and composition, which also goes with typography and color. And then, of course, your business's branding and identity, which is going to be the message that you're providing to your audience. So stock images, as I said, most of us for our businesses have some sort of images that we've taken over the years. I'm sure that after this, April will be able to recommend several photographers in the area. I know there's some great photographers that would be able to offer up their services to you. But if you're just looking for general stock images, for example, you want to create maybe an invitation or a poster for an event that's going on, and you want just a general photo of maybe people outside or lights or something like that, then here's a few recommendations on places you can go in order to get those. This deck will be available after the class, but Venngage in particular has a portfolio of photos within the platform, and we'll go over that shortly. So you can use their photos at no additional cost. There are some paid services, but it can get very costly. And there are some stipulations on whether or not you can use those, for example, for paid products. So if you download some of these images, whether they're vector files or photos, and you use it for a paid product, there are limitations, or it costs more. So it can get very costly, but things like Shutterstock, iStock, or Adobe Stock are great tools to go to. If maybe you're doing like a billboard and you need a really great photo, then you can pay anywhere from, $10 to, depending on if you're using it, if you're going to be selling the item, $100. And then there's several free photos, which I listed below there that you can go to. Of course, just a Google search will help you understand which websites will provide those for you. So let's have a few examples there. So a couple things when we're talking about photography within your graphic design, we really want to focus on photo quality. So I just have a few things listed here. You don't want an image overload where it's hard to distinguish what it is that you're looking at in the photo, especially when it comes to retail and products. So you just want clearly defined photos, high quality, especially if you're, as I mentioned, if you're selling an item, you want it from all different angles. So keep that in mind. And of course, you want it to be in focus. This seems very basic, but it is important that, you take the time to focus in your subject and make sure that they're clear. And then, of course, the composition, which we're going to be talking about next. So if there's any photographers on here, they'll be very familiar with the rule of thirds. So it's essentially taking your image and you divide it up with 2 horizontal and 2 vertical lines. And where those intersect are essentially where your viewer's eyes are naturally going to be drawn to those points. So that's called the rule of thirds. So I gave a few examples here. Of course, every one of your photos is not going to fall into this category. But if you want to think of that while you are composing your image, it's a good tool to keep in mind. So this information comes from a German engineer that I like, and it's just some basic things to keep in mind while you're going over design. So good design is innovative. It makes a product useful. It has, the design is aesthetically pleasing. It provides clarity. So it really shows, it makes the product understandable, easy to, view, understand. It's unobtrusive to the eye. It's honest. It makes a product long lasting, and it's thorough. And also it's environmentally friendly, and good design is as little design as possible. So that's really the key here is a lot of times I think we feel like we have to put as much as we can on one page, lots of different fonts, lots of different colors. And really, like I said, because the way things are right now, you're just bombarded with so much information on a daily basis that you really need to simplify your message rather than put it all in one space. So if that means coming up with a calendar for social media where you're going to have to push 5 different images rather than one, then I highly recommend doing that because it's it's much more effective. So typography and color. This is just talking about fonts and the color scheme. I went over this in a previous class, but I think it's important to, this is image overload here, speaking of, but just kind of think about when you're coming up with your logos and your fonts, some of these rules here. So it's nice when you like mix a couple fonts, when you use fonts that are conducive to the mood. So if it's something very calming, you don't want a very aggressive font. Also, the one I really want to focus on is number 10. So I'm sure some of us are guilty and we all recognize these fonts, but these are really fonts that you want to avoid. They don't do anything for your business. It's a little on the elementary side to use these, but I would focus more on having like a sans serif and a serif font, maybe combining 2 very clean fonts, and never go over 2 fonts because it gets very confusing and it gets very crowded. So you can find this on the internet. This is courtesy, they have several images like this that'll help you, but just kind of keep these things in mind as you are creating your logos or for your content for the graphics. I want to focus on this a little bit. I mean, we have a whole series just on brand identity, but brand identity really serves as a clear definition of what your organization stands for. So this identity is comprised of 5 primary elements. And these are important because as you're pushing out your graphics, you want to stay in line with your brand identity. I think we all have lots of different good ideas. And sometimes we want to use all of those when we are trying to be creative and get our message out. But we really need to define what these are and then stick to it, because as you're creating your brand, you're also creating an identity. So the first of course, is logo design. Some of you may be new businesses and you haven't actually created your logo, but these, this is the obvious, the shapes, fonts, and pictures that act as your first impression. So there's a lot of companies, if you don't feel comfortable putting together your logo design, there's a lot of cost efficient ways to do that. There's a company called Fiverr that you can go on, people do it for $5, or there's a ton if you look on Instagram that will offer very inexpensive options and provide 5 to 10 different logos once you explain to them what your business is. So it really isn't that costly. Color schemes. So this is important as well, because depending on what kind of business you have, you want these colors to be sort of conducive to what the messages that you're providing. So these are really mood affecting hues that are associated with your brand. Copywriting. So this is the verbal style that constitutes the voice of your brand. So, maybe you want to come off as laid back, or maybe you want to have a very formal brand. So as you're pushing out these messages, you want to stay consistent in your verbal style. And then of course, the biggest thing for your business right off the bat is creating a mission statement. And this is going to be a clear articulation of your values and goals. So for someone like, the community clinic in town, theirs is going to be more educational, whereas a restaurant is going to have a much different mission statement. And then of course the products, these are just the goods and services you stand behind. So these can be tangible items, such as retail items, or this can be intangible where it's a service that you provide. So as you can see, the concept of your brand really extends beyond your company logo. So really take some time to define what your business core values are. and how you want to use those in order to interact with your customer. So now we're gonna get creative. Before we go into this, I'm gonna mention a content calendar or content. And content is really just the message that we're going to be pushing out for our business. So I recommend, as we're going through this, is thinking about a content calendar. So, consistency is really key. And when you're pushing out a message specifically through social media, it has a lot to do with algorithms. And so you want to be consistent in your messaging. So it's helpful to come up with a content calendar in order to do that. So maybe, and I wouldn't put too much pressure on yourself and have unrealistic expectations. So for example, if Tuesday is a slow day for you and you aren't open that day, maybe Tuesday you block off 2 to 3 hours in order to build your content, which Venngage is great for because they're template based. It's going to take much less time, and then schedule it for the week or schedule it for the month. So maybe you only have Facebook, or maybe you have Instagram. I'm speaking more on social media because this platform really helps with that. But come up with a content calendar because it'll help keep you organized and more importantly, keep you accountable. So I'm now going to go into Venngage, which is the platform that we're going to be using today. Open to that. Okay. So if you just go to this web page, it's venngage.com, and once you pop into that, it'll open up a screen that looks similar to this. And so I'm just going to kind of run through this product and guide you through how to do a couple different graphics. So here at the top, we'll start with my brand. So I put in just the Visit Smithville is coming up with a new website. And so I put in their logo here. And what it does is it automatically pulls your colors. So if you don't have a logo yet, don't worry about that. You can choose some colors that you feel complement your business well, or maybe some colors that you're thinking about using. But this is very helpful because once you build your brand kit, then when we go into the design portion of it, you'll have the opportunity to pick and choose the colors and the logo and everything. So this is where you do that. You just add, I believe one of these is a PNG file, and one of these is a JPEG. And then you can also choose your fonts over here. So just kind of keep in mind what we said about fonts, maybe use a serif and a sans serif, or, just be thoughtful about the way that your fonts are represented within the brand there. And then up here at the top are your designs. So these are just designs that I've used in the past and updated. So you can see here, my sister works for she's a director at an adoption agency. So they were having foster week where you could go and adopt the kids and stuff. So anyway, I just created something simple for her. But this is where all the designs here live. And you can save those and export them in any sort of, and we'll get to that, but you can export them in several different types of files. So if you need a PDF file or a JPEG file, you can export it as that. So this is where all your designs live. And then you can create teams. So if you have people in your office that are handling your social media, you're able to designate your team over here so you could have shared files, which is great. You also have that ability up at top. So the templates, this is the reason why I like this. There's several. I know that someone else taught a class about Canva, which I really like as well. But this is very organized. I like the amount of templates they have because there's a large variety. So you can see over here on the left-hand side, these templates are all, they all provide the ability for you to update them. And they're broken down by category, and they pretty much have a category for anything that you could actually need for your marketing. So for example, we're just going to go through some of these business cards even. So here it'll give you some options for business cards. So you can scroll through, but you also have the opportunity to search by keyword or topic. So if you want something, you know, simple or creative, or maybe you want something blue or purple, you can do that up here. And there's some free, premium, and business ones. I always just use the free one because there's a significant amount of free ones, and why pay for it if you don't have to. And then you could do it by size as well. So you can go through here, you know, these are great. If you don't have business cards, you could go in here and pretty quickly update those. Also, they have, I'm trying to get the ones that you probably use the most, but posters, these are great. So if you're a business, you're a restaurant, for example, and you're putting on an event, or you're putting on a farm to table dinner, a paid event, they have all these posters in here that you can use. So you can search and see like grand opening, for example, and you can see here that they have some options for a grand opening, and you can just update those. They also have newsletters, which is great. You know, I know the chamber sends out some newsletters, so this is a great tool for anyone that's sending out a weekly newsletter, or if you're sending out maybe an email, you're collecting emails online on your website, and you send out an update every week of maybe upcoming events or specials. This is really great to use. And as you can see, they're all beautiful, and it's as simple as updating the content within that. And they have it divided by category as well. So if you're in real estate, you can click on here, and it'll give you some that already have graphics that are relevant to your industry. You know, and this really does save a lot of time, because I don't know if you've ever had to start with something from scratch and you're trying to find a picture or, you know, a drawing of something relevant in your industry, and it can be difficult to do. So you can see all of these are really great, and these are all, so you can see where it says free, premium. All of the premium ones you're going to have to pay for, but the other ones are all free. Invitations, I could see the chamber using a lot of these. You know, they have a lot of events, and I'm sure that April can give you how many that number is a year, but I know it's a lot. So, you know, we're pushing out a lot of events, and starting from scratch can be time consuming. So this is a great tool here. And then I wanted to focus on two things that we discussed is logos. So if you haven't created a logo for your business, this, I mean, you don't have to copy it exactly, but this will give you some great ideas here as far as logo goes. So you could go in, you can update these icons, so I'll show you how to do, and you can update the text and the color. But this is a great resource for those of you that are new to a business and haven't picked out your logo yet. So I would go through here and then revise it to your liking. And then here's the social media ones that we discussed previously. So each of these are designed based on the size that these platforms all require for you to post. So you can see here we have Instagram, Facebook, and you can see the size difference on each of these: LinkedIn, Pinterest, Twitter, and Snapchat. And as I said, if you're looking for something in particular, just go to the top and type that in, and it'll give you all of the posters, or I'm sorry, the images relevant to that. So I think the best thing to do to get started is maybe we'll do a Facebook post first, and then a grand opening. So if I'm a business and I am coming up with a content calendar, as we discussed, you know, maybe every other day or twice a week, we want to push something out on Facebook. Ideally 2 to 3 times a week is great, depending on what kind of business you are. But this is a great starter tool, so you don't have to start from scratch. So if I'm on Facebook and I'm a restaurant, I kind of look through here and see, okay, what color, I mean, what do I like about these? And remember that you can change all the colors and all the fonts. So you don't need to focus so much on that. You just want to see something that maybe catches your eye a little bit, or that you're not going to have to do a ton of changes to. So I kind of like this one. In order to update it, real simple, you just click on create, and it takes you to the design screen. So here's the design screen. And Over here on your left-hand side are all the tools that you're able to use to update. Okay, so you have your text box here, icons, charts, maps, background, images that you upload, photos, which includes the stock photos, and then interactive here that you'll be able to put in a form, a survey, or YouTube link. Okay, so what I want to do is, just for the sake of keeping this quick, is I'm a restaurant and I want to promote that we have, you know, burgers are half off, you know, so I want to put half off. So you just update it. Oh, if I can type, sorry about that. And then half off specialty burgers. And I'm going to push this out today for, you know, Wednesday. Okay. You know, of course, you could put in more information here and list what they are, but just for the sake of not taking a lot of time. So these are the images. Of course, I like these images, but if you want to change anything, then what you do is it's very easy. Go into icons, and if you want an icon, you can use that. But if you want a image, I'll show you how to do that. So I went to food here, and it'll give you all the food icons that are available. But maybe I want to replace the background with a photo. So all you have to do is you click on the image that you want to replace, and you'll see here at the top, it gives you some options: crop, alignment, zoom, things like that. You just press replace. And this is where you replace your images. So you either click on the icons or you click on the images. So I want to go to photos, and these are all the stock photos that it has available to you, which is great because you don't have to pay for them. So we're hoping they have a burger, and they do. So these are all the pictures that I can use for a burger. Okay, this one looks pretty good. So let me change that out. Oops. Sorry, I got out of that real quick. Okay. So you can click on any of these and kind of think about the space that we talked about too, because you want to make sure that this is something that you'd be able to put text behind or not. You know, so if we're going to overlay text on it, for example, then you want an area where you're able to do that. So if you want to replace it, you click on this and you press replace. I don't know why this isn't replacing my thing real quick. There you go. Oh, I see it's locked. There we go. There we go. So you just press replace, click on it, and it will put in the burger there. So what was going on there is there's a lock key up here. You have to make sure that that isn't on red, and it will replace it. So you can put whatever image you'd like to put in there. You can delete any of the images that you want to get rid of. And you could put visit us tomorrow for the best burger in town. So you can kind of just play around with this. If you see up here, these are your options where it says ungroup. A lot of times these templates have images that are grouped together, and in order to ungroup them, you just click on that and it'll ungroup it. That way you can delete one at a time rather than playing with both of them. Okay. Then to change the fonts, you do that here, and the size. And if you ever mess up on anything or delete something, all you have to do is press this back button there. So I want to play around a little bit with these options right here. So you can see these are the background here. So if you want to change the background, you have the ability to do that with the gradients or color overlay. That's why it's kind of light right now, because there's a color overlay. If you don't want any, then you can just click this here. You can put patterns over it, whatever you'd like. So you can see that there's a lot of options for you to update this information. if you want to put in additional text, it's great because it gives you things that are already designed. So you can see here, maybe I want to highlight something, then you can click on that. Maybe I want to get rid of this and I just want to highlight the half off. So these are already some designs that are already available to you, which is nice. So you do half off. You want that to fit in there. So as you can see, there's all sorts of things that you can do with this, you know, to make it look nice. And then once you, of course, this isn't done, but I'm just going to try to teach you how to make those updates. Once this is done to your liking, you know, we probably want to add in quite a bit more here. Then you're able to share it here with an email address. So if you have someone else on your team, you can share it with an email address here, or you can download it as a PDF file, a PNG, which is an image file, or an interactive PDF, depending if you use some of those interactive options that we talked about before. So you can do that here. So there's lots of options for you, lots of time savers in order to push out push out the images that you need to on social media. So I'm going to go back to templates, and we're going to work on doing a grand opening. So as I said, you just go to the top here and you search for the item that is similar to what you're looking for. You know, and it doesn't have to, you don't have to use these specifically, but sometimes I like to search for something that's very specific. That way I'm not having to update all of the information in it. So we're going to do a grand opening here. I like this one. Okay, so you can change the color and text here. Over here on the left-hand side, if you go to the background, this is where it's going to pop up all your brand colors. So this really saves you time because you're not having to go and pick out all your brand colors. So these are the ones that you created initially on the back end up here under my brand. So it has all of that. And then I uploaded the image of our logo already here. Okay. So say I don't like this font. I take that and all the fonts are listed right here. So yeah, I like this one a little more, so you could change it, change the date. If you don't like the colors, you just pick on that. And I want these colors to really align with my brand. Okay, so you just go to background. I'm going to change some of these colors. All right. It's locked. I don't know what this is. There we go. Change this to maybe black. And then we'll change this one to the blue color. And we'll change this to the orange color. Okay. And then I have my logo over here, which I've already uploaded. So this is where you can upload any of your own images. I have the Visit Smithville logo, the new one. So we're going to use that one. So you just drag it over there, double click or drag, make it smaller. Okay. And this picture really doesn't make sense. So you want to unlock it up here at the top where it has the red, and then you want to replace it. So I want something a little more fun. Maybe a picture of a party here. So you can see there's lots of drag and drop that over. Why this isn't working for me today. Party. There we go. I'll switch this one. we go. So we have some nice lights here, has our grand opening. And of course we want to change this where, you know, it's kind of conducive to the colors, or it looks good. And then I want to share this. So I can go share here and I can just put in the invitation and it'll allow them to come and view it. I could also copy the link and then I could download it. So if you're going to download it and you want to download it as a PDF, all you have to do is put download PDF and it'll download it here for you. And you can send it over to the printer. So, so it's very, very easy, very user-friendly. So once again, over here on the left-hand side, all the texts are listed here, icons, any icons that you want to use. Charts are really great. So if you're doing a presentation, you have the ability to put in, you know, a basic table over here, and then you can update that information based on your file. So if you have a spreadsheet, this is a really great tool, because if you have a lot of data and maybe you're presenting to a board, you just copy and paste your information over here. So I just double clicked on that. You double click on that, you copy and paste your Excel information into this table, and it'll update it for you here very easily. So there's all sorts of charts that you're able to put in there: pie charts, line charts, columns, pyramids, all sorts of things in here. These maps are really great as well. It's the same thing. You'll be able to put in some data points. So you just drag and drop it over. So we want to use Texas, for example. And then when you click on it, you'll be able to do some updates to the map as well. You just put edit map, and maybe you want to do population by county, or for right now, for example, like COVID cases by county, you can do that here. So you just put in the counties and the numbers. Most of you all already have those in a spreadsheet. You can also import it, so you don't have to copy and paste it, and it'll update that for you. So I'm just going to delete those. So these are great tools for presentations as well. Backgrounds listed here again, image uploads and photos. We talked about that. If you want to do a form, like an interactive form, all you have to do, say for example, you're sending out an invitation via, excuse me, via PDF, an interactive PDF, then all you do is press this form and then edit, and you have the ability to update the form here. Okay, so you have button options, submit options, the colors, and you can do that all right here. And then you'll download this form as an interactive PDF. So as you can see, there's a ton of useful resources here. I'm primarily talking about social media, because I think that that's what most of us are doing for our businesses, is pushing out that. So we really want to focus on the templates for social media. So I'll go over those again, what they have here: Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Twitter, and Snapchat. So as I said, these are already sized appropriately already, and you just need to go in there and update this information. Another great tool is the flyers one. I use these a lot when we're just trying to, I mean, if you have events coming up or you want to promote something outside of your building, I would go into this section and use these, because these are all very appealing. When you send these, when you download these as PDF, they'll be print ready, so you can send them directly to your printer. But if you're printing them at home, keep in mind that you have the option to have the size layout. So if you want something that is letter size versus, you know, a square or whatever, just make sure that you indicate that up here, so you're getting the appropriate size that you'd like to download. So I want to talk about a few other things that we don't have too much time left, about 5 more minutes, but there are a lot of tools that you can use with Venngage in order to really streamline your marketing efforts. So there's a tool called Hootsuite. And what Hootsuite does, there's also one called Monday, but Hootsuite is great. And what it does is it allows you to set up your profiles for your different social media accounts. So for Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, LinkedIn, whatever that looks like. So you initially set all those up on the back end. And then when you develop these graphics, it will update them based on the size and the specifications that particular platform requires of you. So for most of us, I mean, we don't want to spend our time designing something for Instagram and then designing something for Facebook and all that. So they have something that's called HOOTSUITE, Hootsuite. And what it'll do is it'll push it all out for you at once. So you put in the message, you put in your hashtags, and then you push all that information out. So you're not having to do it under like 5 different platforms, which is really time saving. And then another tool that I would recommend that I use a lot, there's one called Monday, and you can get it for very inexpensive. And it's just more of an accountability tool. So you can go in there and you could create that content calendar we discussed and put in all the days that you're going to be pushing out your content. And then you could share it with your team as well. So it's just a great tool to keep you organized. So I recommend that, Hootsuite, and this one as well. There's also someone who teaches a class on Canva. Canva is actually more robust when it comes to the social media side of things. And I believe they have an internal calendar as well where you can schedule the content and push it out. So it's more of an all-in-one. But it really is it depends on your preference and your price point. I believe that Canva is also very reasonable. I think on the level I'm on, it's like $15 or $20 a month. So you have a question here. Can the newsletters be sent embedded in Outlook? The question is, can the newsletters be sent embedded in an Outlook email, or does it have to be an attachment? So I think on here, you may be able to provide a link. Let me look. I actually haven't done that, but let me see here. You should be able to provide a link for that. So April's asking if she did a newsletter, if she could just share a link rather than have to attach it. So I'm going to check, but I will say I'll have to look and I can get back to you on that. I've never actually shared a link, but I know that you could download it as a PDF, and then you can upload it. I mean, because you guys have a website, you could upload it to your website and then just grab that link as an attachment. Not as an attachment, but just upload the document and it creates a link, and then take that link and embed it in Outlook. So that's an option, but I can check real quick and see if you can create a link for that.
And you can get back to me on that. That's great. Thank you, Abby.
Sure.
I've only have one other question that was just texted to me, which is you went through a lot of how to use the stock images. Can you go over how to use your own images when you insert those into your
Sure, I can do that.
Files that you're creating?
Let me share my screen again. All right, so if I'm going to go into templates, and I'm going to search maybe for an announcement. Okay, so I'll click on this one, create. So if you want to upload your own images, you just go to image uploads. I have quite a few that I've already uploaded. So let me see what I have on my desktop here, and I'll show you how to do that. So if you have images you want to upload, here's a good one. Here's my baby. So if you want to upload it, then all you do is you go to the left-hand side, image upload, and you click on it, and you can use that picture here. And so there's my little ultrasound. And if you want to send it to the back, you just use these arrows here and you say move backwards, and it'll start moving backwards there. I'm going to delete this picture. You can also press replace and it'll just replace this picture, or you can drag and drop. So once again, you go to the left-hand side, image upload. You can upload any kind of image you'd like. It needs to be a JPEG, or it needs to be an image type, like a PNG, a JPEG, JPG. You can see here, I was working on a project for a lake company, so I have a lot of pictures here. So you can either replace it, or you can just drag it over like this and put it there. and then update it. So any of this can be switched out. So you don't have to use these fonts. You don't have to use this color. And that's all designated right here up on the top left-hand side.
So are you saying that if you were dragging in a photograph, you use these arrows up at the top of the screen and that will pull the text in over the top of the photograph?
Well, you have to, yeah, exactly. You need to think about it in layers. So each one of these things is a layer and was placed on top of each other. So first they put the picture and then put the text over it. So you can see here, I'll show you. So here's a picture. This is just some feed for a lake, but I want to replace it with a sonogram. And this picture is the first layer. So you just press replace and you can put in the picture that you want to replace it with. But yeah, it's layers.
Okay.
So what these arrows do is they move things to the front or back. So for example, if I want to move that picture forward, which I mean, there wouldn't be a reason for me to do that because I'd hide the text, but you just press move to front. So each one of those things,
okay.
you just kind of have to think of it as a layer if anyone's ever worked with like Illustrator or Photoshop.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
And I will be the first to say congratulations. That's a very nice photograph there of your sonogram.
Thank you.
Things have come a long way since 1990 when I had my son. You can really see the kid in there.
Yeah.
As I was talking, I got another question for you, Abby.
Mm-hmm.
Can you folder your designs for organizational needs?
Yeah, so when you save it, you can publish it over here and that will go directly to your templates here. And then once it goes to, or I'm sorry, to your My Designs over here, and then you can do new folder here, and then you can put all of your, you know, if it's all for the chamber or all for your business, you can create new folders here, just like you would on your computer. That way and then you can share the whole folder or you can share just the individual file with whoever it is that you're sharing it to. So I'm going to look at this. I'm just curious to answer your question. I'm not sure if they have the ability because I think it would take a lot to do that link as you noted. But I will look into that and see if you'd be able to do that. I mean, if you downloaded it as a PDF and then uploaded it to your server, then you would be able to provide a link. I just don't know if they have the ability to do that, but I'll look into it and I'll follow up with you.
Okay, thank you, Abby.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, it looks like that's all of our questions. So I'm going to stop your sharing and I'm going to move back into, I want to remind those of you that are watching or those of you that will come back later and watch the recording, that all of these classes that we're offering are available on the Chamber website, smithvilletx.org. Simply go to the top of the page where it says events and click on virtual online classes, and all of the classes are there archived. They're all there in order, and as we record them, they'll be archived along with the slideshows that go with them if they have a slideshow. I'd also like to remind you that we have several classes coming up. Our next one is on March 4th, Texas Friendly Customer Service Training at noon. March 11th at noon, communicating with your customers, how to talk to people and make friends with everyone. That's a good idea. March 16th will be the second in our Canva series, Canva 2, that will help you work through that program. And then Canva 3 will follow on March 23rd. The March 16th class is at noon and the March 23rd is at 6. And finally, to finish out March, we will have a Photography 101 class for those of you that are interested in creating some photography so that you can use that for your social media or print marketing or whatever it is you need it for. So with that, I will thank all of you for being here today. And Abby, again, thank you so much for such a great presentation. And I'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.